We start the second stage in Galicia and have two options. The first, on the right, via Sansil, is 7 kilometers shorter. It first climbs through a landscape of woods and deep paths to the top of Rio Cabo, and then descends through a more open, rural landscape. If we go left, we will follow the Oribio River through a densely vegetated valley until we reach the historic Benedictine monastery of Samos. Later, both options merge and all pilgrims will enter Sarria together. In this video, we will explore both options, starting with the Sansil route. We leave Triacastela heading north towards Sansil, in other words, to the right. We pass the old Casa da Ponte, and after carefully crossing the road, we head towards the small village of Abalsa. There we find its humble chapel dedicated to St. Anthony of Padua. Now on a steep climb, along this mysterious and evocative deep Camino, we continue until we come to the Fuente dos Lameros, decorated with a scallop shell reflected in the still water. We continue the climb, passing through Sansil and reaching the top of Rio Cabo, at an altitude of around 900 meters. It is a spectacular sight and a relief, as from this point on all that remains is to descend and ride on flat ground until the end of the stage. We leave the asphalt, although cyclists will continue more safely on the road. We enter the Robledal to descend to Montan, where we are greeted by the church of Santa Maria with its three-sided portico. More villages follow among patches of native forest. The view opens up more and more, and we ride surrounded by meadows and small woods, closely following the road. When we cross the road, we leave the church of Santo Estebo on our left, standing on a hilltop and heir to a disappeared Visigoth temple. We continue to the Calbo Pilgrims Hostel. This refuge is one of the first public hostels built for the Jacobean year in 1993, which were so helpful to those on the Camino. We leave the road behind, and after a short distance we enter Aguiada. In this part of the Calbor area, we join the southern route that comes from Samos. At the beginning, we see a monument to pilgrims on the left. It commemorates a custom described in the Codex Calistino, according to which pilgrims collected a small piece of limestone in Triacastela and carried it to the kilns of Castañeda between Mérida and Arzúa. There, it was used to make lime for the construction of the Cathedral of Santiago. The first few kilometers of the stage to San Cristovo do Real run along the side of the road. In this village, located in a peaceful corner of the Oribio River, is the parish church, and if we find it open, we will see its precious Baroque altarpiece. In the village we also find the first turn-off to the Casaforte Lucio public hostel. We head towards Renche. In the village is the parish church dedicated to Santiago, which still preserves some elements of its Romanesque origin and houses a carving of our apostle. In just over half an hour we arrive at San Martiño do Real. We can look up and take a look at the series of corbels depicting animal, human, and geometric figures. In 20 minutes we enter Samos, and soon we can see the large monastic complex that is the highlight of this southern route. It is the Benedictine monastery of San Julián de Samos. Here, on the banks of the river Sarria, pilgrims find hospitality in a Christian hostel. The monastery dates back to the 6th century and adopted the rule of Benedict in the 10th century. Restored and enlarged throughout history, it is a blend of several architectural styles, from Romanesque to Baroque, Gothic and Renaissance. The monumental church is complemented by two cloisters and a library. Also in Samos is the pre-Romanesque chapel of El Salvador, next to which stands a striking cypress tree that is almost 1,000 years old and over 25 meters high. We leave behind the monastic complex of Samos close to the Pilgrim Square, which is enlivened by several sculptures. The Camino now runs alongside the provincial road, passing through a park that displays examples of the work carried out by local stonemasons. We then pass by a recreational area that stretches out on the other side of the river, an ideal place to take a break. A few meters further on, we reach Maison Pontenova, where we must take great care when crossing the road. The route soon climbs up to the Romanesque church of Santa Eulalia de Pascais. The primitive style still survives in the apse, the northern facade, and a semicircular archway. We descend quickly to Gorolfe, turning right next to the chapel of Our Lady of the Miracles. Paved tracks lead to Veiga de Reiriz. Just after, we come across a Peto de Ánimas, a popular construction in the northwest of the peninsula, where a prayer is said for the souls in purgatory. We then cross the Sarria river and arrive at the next place, which is Sibil. Next we arrive at the village of Perros, with a chapel dedicated to Our Lady of the Road. After crossing the road again, we enter Aguiada, where we join the San Sil route. We thus cover the last 5 kilometers of the stage. The route heads towards Sarria through its fertile plain, close to the provincial road, and passing through San Mamede do Camiño and Vigo de Sarria, which has now merged with Sarria itself. We arrive in Sarria, where there is plenty of accommodation for pilgrims, both in the lower part of the town and in the upper part, which can be reached by climbing these stairs. Here the number of pilgrims increases enormously, as many want to walk the last 100 kilometers of the Camino de Santiago, which is currently the minimum required to obtain the Compostela. Therefore, we must prepare ourselves, especially in high season, for the crowds in order to escape inwardly. Buen camino!